I found out my fiancé bought a Christmas gift for another woman, so I waited until Christmas night to make a decision that shocked both families. Hey Reddit, I'm a 30-year-old guy who's always prided myself on being the steady one in my circle, reliable job in finance, a cozy apartment in the suburbs, and a fiancé I've been with for 3 years. We were planning our wedding for next spring, and everything felt picture perfect. But beneath that surface, I was starting to notice cracks. Late nights at work, unexplained texts, and now this Christmas gift that wasn't for me. Let me back up a bit. My name's not important here, but my life story? That's what this is about. I met her at a mutual friend's barbecue 3 years ago. She was laughing over a grill, her smile lighting up the whole backyard, and I was hooked. We clicked instantly, shared love for hiking, binge-watching old sitcoms, and dreaming about a future with a white picket fence. She worked in marketing, ambitious and fun, and I was the guy who balanced the books at a mid-sized firm, saving up for that dream house. Our relationship was easy, like slipping into a favorite pair of jeans. Dates turned into weekends, weekends into moving in together. We talked about kids, travel, growing old side by side. It was all so normal, so right. But about 6 months ago, things started feeling off. She'd come home late from work events, her phone buzzing with messages she'd quickly hide. I'd ask, and she'd shrug it off with a kiss, saying I was being paranoid. I brushed it aside. Work stress, holiday rush, whatever. We were engaged, after all. Trust was supposed to be the foundation. Then, a week before Christmas, I came home early and saw it, a neatly wrapped box on the counter, tagged for someone named Sarah. Not a family member, not a friend. My stomach twisted as I peeked at the receipt. Expensive perfume, from a place we'd never shopped together. It wasn't for me. That gift was the first real crack that turned into a chasm, forcing me to question everything we'd built. Was I blind? Or had I just been too comfortable? Either way, it shattered the illusion of our perfect life, and I knew I couldn't ignore it anymore. The steady guy was about to face the storm. Get out, I hissed through gritted teeth, my voice barely steady as I stood in the living room doorway, the Christmas tree lights flickering mockingly behind me. My fiancée froze, the wrapped box still in her hands, her eyes wide with panic as she realized I'd seen the receipt peeking out, the one addressed to another woman. In that split second, the power shifted. I wasn't the clueless fiancé anymore. I was the one holding the truth, and the weight of what I'd do next could shatter our families forever. What the hell was she thinking, and how far had this gone? The air in the room felt thick, like it was charged with electricity, and for a moment, neither of us moved. The Christmas tree stood there like a silent witness, its multicolored bulbs casting eerie shadows on the walls, illuminating the chaos of our lives. I'd come home early that evening, the weight of suspicion heavy on my shoulders after days of piecing together clues, late-night texts, unexplained absences, and now this. The gift was supposed to be a surprise for Sarah, whoever she was. My heart pounded in my chest, a drumbeat of betrayal that drowned out the faint carol music playing from the radio. She stood there, her face paling, the box trembling slightly in her grip. Was that guilt in her eyes, or just shock? I'd always thought I knew her, but now, staring at her, I wondered if I'd ever really known anyone. What are you talking about? She stammered, her voice cracking as she set the box down on the coffee table, the paper crinkling like a confession. She tried to step toward me, but I held up a hand, stopping her cold. The power dynamic had flipped so fast it left me dizzy. For months, I'd been the one in the dark, brushing off red flags because I didn't want to believe it. But now, with that receipt in my mind, expensive perfume, a brand she'd never worn around me, I held the upper hand. One wrong move, and I could expose everything. Our families were due to arrive in hours for Christmas Eve dinner. Her parents, my siblings, all expecting a cozy holiday. If I blew this up now, it'd be like dropping a bomb in the middle of our lives. I could see the wheels turning in her head. Did she know I'd been snooping? Had she slipped up somewhere? The suspense gnawed at me. What if she denied it? What if she admitted it? And Sarah? Who was she? A coworker? An old flame? The thought of her with someone else made my stomach churn, a mix of rage and heartbreak that threatened to spill over. I clenched my fists, forcing myself to stay calm. I saw the messages. I said, my voice low and controlled, though inside I was screaming. The coffee shop meetups. This gift. It's not for me, is it? Her eyes darted to the floor, and in that instant, I knew. The truth hung between us like a noose, and I had to decide. Confront her now and ruin the holiday, or wait. The stakes were insane. Our engagement, our future, the trust of two families who'd been planning this wedding for months. But waiting felt like cowardice, like letting her win. What if she was planning to leave me after Christmas? What if this was just the tip of the iceberg? She finally met my gaze, tears welling up. It's not what you think, she whispered, but her words lacked conviction. The room felt smaller, the tree's lights pulsing like a heartbeat. I took a step closer, the powers surging through me. Then explain it. I demanded, my mind racing. If she lied, I'd know. If she told the truth, what then? The night was young, families on the way, and I was on the edge of a decision that could change everything. What the hell had she been thinking? And how deep did this betrayal run? I wasn't letting go until I found out. It all started a week before Christmas. I'd come home early from work that crisp December afternoon, the kind where the air smells like pine and possibility. I was planning to surprise her with takeout. Her favorite Thai place, extra spicy noodles to warm us up after a long day. The apartment was quiet, the faint hum of the heater the only sound as I kicked off my shoes. But then I spotted it on the kitchen counter, a neatly wrapped box, the paper shimmering under the overhead light, with a tag that read, "To Sarah, Merry Christmas." Sarah? My mind raced. That name didn't ring a bell. Not her sister, not a cousin, not anyone in our tight-knit circle. A knot formed in my stomach as I stepped closer, curiosity turning to dread. I glanced around, half expecting her to pop out from the bedroom, but the place felt empty. Against my better judgment, I lifted the corner of the wrapping paper, just enough to peek at the receipt tucked inside. Expensive perfume, Chanel No. 5, from that upscale boutique downtown we'd walked past but never entered. The price tag made my eyes widen, over $200. This wasn't a casual gift, it was thoughtful, intimate. And it wasn't for me. My heart sank like a stone in a pond, ripples of suspicion spreading outward. I shoved the receipt back and tried to compose myself, but my hands were shaking. When she got home an hour later, laughing about her day at the office, I couldn't hold it in. "What's this?" I asked, pointing to the box, my voice steadier than I felt. She froze for a split second, then forced a smile. "Oh, that's for a colleague at work. Sarah, she's new, and I thought it'd be nice. You know, holiday spirit. A work thing? A gift for a colleague?" It sounded plausible, but something in her eyes flickered. Guilt, maybe? I wanted to believe her. We'd built a life together, after all. 3 years of shared dreams. Kids someday. A house in the suburbs with a backyard for barbecues. Growing old with inside jokes and lazy Sundays. We'd met at a friend's wedding, hit it off over champagne toasts, and it felt like fate. She was the one who made me laugh, who pushed me to try new things, who whispered, "I love you," every night before bed. How could that be a lie? But doubt gnawed at me like a persistent itch I couldn't scratch. That night, as she slept soundly beside me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every late night, every vague text. The next day, I started digging. It felt wrong, invasive, but the seed of betrayal had taken root. While she was in the shower, steam billowing out the door, I grabbed her phone from the nightstand. My fingers trembled as I scrolled through messages. Nothing overt, but coded phrases like, "Can't wait to see you," and "Last night was amazing." Sent to a number not in her contacts. My pulse raced. Who was this? I didn't confront her again. Instead, I followed her that evening. She said she was meeting a friend for coffee, but I tailed her car from a safe distance, heart pounding. Sure enough, she pulled into a cozy cafe downtown, and there he was, a guy I'd never seen, mid-30s, laughing with her over lattes. They leaned in close, his hand brushing hers. Sarah. Turns out, Sarah was a cover. The affair had been going on for months. Photos on her phone confirmed it. Stolen weekends, secret rendezvous. The gut punch was real, a wave of nausea that left me breathless. How'd I missed it? Was I that blind, that trusting? The betrayal twisted like a knife. Memories flooded back. Our engagement party, where she'd cried happy tears. The vacation we took last summer, hiking trails and making love under the stars. It all felt tainted now, like a beautiful painting smeared with mud. Anger bubbled up. How could she do this to us? To me? But beneath it was heartbreak, a hollow ache that made me question everything. Was I not enough? Had I been too focused on work? Too complacent? I played it cool over the next few days, smiling through dinners, pretending the world wasn't crumbling. But inside, I was a mess. Insomnia, loss of appetite, replaying scenarios in my head. End it now? Or give her a chance to explain? Christmas was just days away, and our families were flying in from out of town. Her parents, who treated me like a son, my siblings, who adored her. They were all expecting a festive reunion, gift exchanges, carols, the works. If I blew it up now, it'd ruin everything for everyone. Her mom would be devastated, the kids' holiday memories scarred. So I waited, letting the secret fester like an untreated wound. Each day, the tension built. Awkward silences at breakfast, forced hugs goodnight. I wondered if I could forgive, if love was strong enough to overlook this, or if I had to end it, cut ties, and start over. The internal battle raged, pulling me in two directions. What if she confessed on her own? What if she didn't? The clock ticked down, and with each passing hour, the weight grew heavier, pushing me toward a decision I couldn't avoid. Christmas Eve arrived like a ticking bomb, the kind of day that should have been filled with joy but instead amplified every crack in my facade. The house was buzzing with life. Her mom in the kitchen, the scent of cinnamon and sugar wafting through the air as she baked her famous gingerbread cookies, humming carols under her breath. My dad sat by the fireplace, regaling anyone who would listen with tales of Christmases past, his voice booming with laughter that echoed off the walls. The kids, my nieces and nephews, ages 5 to 12, were a whirlwind of energy, darting around the living room in their pajamas, unwrapping small stocking stuffers and squealing with delight. It was picture perfect, the kind of holiday scene you'd see in a Hallmark movie. But for me, it felt like a stage set, fragile and ready to collapse. We gathered around the tree for the gift exchange, the twinkling lights casting a warm glow that did nothing to thaw the ice in my veins. I handed out presents with a forced smile, books for my brother, a scarf for her sister, while my mind replayed that damned box. Every time I glanced at her, sitting cross-legged on the floor, laughing at one of the kids' jokes, I saw it. The fancy wrapping, the tag for Sarah. She acted normal, her cheeks flushed from the wine and the fire's heat, but I caught her sneaking peeks at her phone under the table, probably texting him, wishing she was somewhere else. The thought twisted like a knife. Was she thinking about him right now, in the middle of our family tradition? Did she feel any guilt, or was this just another lie layered on top of the others? The tension coiled inside me like a spring, building with each passing minute. What if I confronted her right here, in front of everyone? Pulled out my phone, showed the screenshots of their messages, the photo of them at the coffee shop? The gasps would be immediate. Her mom's baking forgotten, the kids' laughter cut short. My dad would look at me with disappointment, my siblings with shock. The engagement ring on her finger would feel like a mockery, and the wedding plans we'd spent months on would evaporate in an instant. Families divided, holidays ruined forever. I imagined the fallout. Awkward silences at future gatherings, whispered judgments, The bond between our clans fractured beyond repair. Her parents might never forgive me for exposing it this way, and mine would side with me, but still mourn the loss of what could have been. On the other hand, what if I just left? Slipped out the back door during the chaos, drove off into the night, and dealt with it later? It seemed cowardly, but maybe it'd spare everyone the immediate pain. I could text her from the road, say it was over, and let the families find out gently. But that felt like running away, like letting her off the hook without facing the music. The stakes were sky high. Our 3-year relationship, the trust I'd placed in her, the dreams we'd shared. If I waited too long, the secret might eat me alive, or worse, she'd sense something and bolt first. The evening dragged on, dinner a blur of turkey and small talk, but every shared glance across the table heightened the pressure. Her hand brushed mine once, and I pulled away, pretending to reach for the salt. By the time the kids were tucked in and the adults lingered with eggnog, I couldn't take it anymore. I excused myself to grab more firewood and paced the hallway, the wooden floor creaking under my feet like a countdown. Heart pounding in my ears, I leaned against the wall, staring at the family photos lining the corridor. Us smiling at the beach, the engagement announcement. This was it. I had to make a move before it was too late. The storm inside me was brewing, and Christmas Eve was about to turn into something unforgettable. By midnight, the house had fallen into a hushed stillness, the kind that amplifies every creak and whisper. Everyone else was asleep. Her mom in the guest room, my dad snoring softly on the couch, the kids tucked away in sleeping bags by the tree. The only light came from the hallway, casting long shadows across our bedroom. We were alone, the clock on the nightstand ticking relentlessly toward Christmas morning. I sat on the edge of the bed, my hands clenched in my lap, the weight of the past week pressing down like a boulder. She slipped in quietly, probably thinking I'd fallen asleep, but I was wide awake, heart hammering. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low but firm, cutting through the silence like a knife. She turned, surprised, her eyes widening as she set her glass of water on the dresser. "Now? It's late, babe. Can it wait?" But I shook my head, pulling out my phone. Before she could protest, I showed her the evidence. Screenshots of their flirty messages, the gift receipt for Sarah, even a grainy photo I'd snapped of them at the coffee shop, his arm around her shoulder. Her face drained of color, turning as pale as the moonlight filtering through the curtains. She opened her mouth, but no words came out, just a shaky breath. "It's over," I declared, not yelling, just stating it like an undeniable fact. The words hung in the air, heavy and final. She sank onto the bed, tears welling up. "Please, let me explain," she whispered, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away. "There's nothing to explain. I trusted you, and you threw it away." The betrayal stung anew, but I felt a strange calm now that it was out. She begged, pleaded, said it was a mistake, that she loved me, but I wasn't listening. The power had shifted back to me. I was done being the fool. I told her to sleep on the couch, and she left the room, sobbing softly. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd made the right call. But deep down, I knew waiting any longer would destroy me. Christmas morning dawned bright and cold, the sun glinting off fresh snow outside. The families gathered in the living room for breakfast, pancakes and coffee, presents still piled under the tree. Laughter filled the air as the kids tore into stockings, her mom passing out mugs. She sat there, eyes red-rimmed, avoiding my gaze. The tension was palpable, but no one noticed yet. As everyone settled with their gifts, I stood up, clearing my throat. The room fell quiet. "I found out about the affair," I announced, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. "I'm calling off the wedding." Gasps echoed. Her mom dropped her mug, shattering on the floor. My brother looked stunned, mouth agape. The kids froze mid-laughter, their faces confused. Tears flowed freely, questions erupted. "What? Why now? Is this a joke?" It was brutal, the holiday cheer evaporating in an instant. But I couldn't fake it anymore. The power had shifted back. I was free, but at the cost of shattering both families' illusions of a perfect Christmas. In the chaos that followed, arguments, tears, hasty departures, it felt like the only way to start healing, to reclaim my life from the lies.